Hello, welcome back to Happy Breath. I'm Jessie, and this is my channel. If this is your first time here, we do all things art, yoga, and meditation. So grab a cup of tea, and let's get started. This sketchbook is particularly special to me because I made everything inside of it, and that even includes the sketchbook itself. This is just a test page. I was testing different inks. This exercise, so this is from Sketchbook Revival from 2022, I believe. And this sketchbook, or this exercise rather, we mixed a color together, and then we mixed different versions of that color and just kind of doodled inside of those individual colors. So all of these, I believe, are made with the same colors. They're just in different amounts, different combinations. For this one on the right, we just made a color wheel and showed kind of the different colors that you could make out of specific colors. So this is not necessarily like the primary colors, I don't think, although that does look a little blue. I think it was related to this. It's the colors that we had put in here, maybe? Honestly, I don't remember. So her takeaway message for this was make art where you are, and she offered 2 months of free classes through Creative Bug, I believe. These were blind contours, so we looked at images that she gave us and just attempted to create them blindly and then color them in. And her takeaway message was make mistakes. Start now and make mistakes. It's okay. This one was interesting. So we made our own stamps. We carved our own stamps and used different color inks to stack the stamps on top of each other. We'll have to make stamps on this channel sometimes. It's extremely satisfying. This is a second attempt. So I jump around a lot in this sketchbook because I added so many different kinds of paper. And so I used specific kinds of paper for specific exercises, and then I went back and utilized the blank pages as much as I could. So this is actually from an exercise from later in this book. I just tried it again, but it was all about drawing the figure in a kind of quick and satisfying way. This is just a test page on the right here. I was growing an herb garden for, I believe, the first time ever. And I had decided that I wanted to kind of keep track and draw it every day just to, keep track of its growth and see its progress. So this was day one. I had chamomile, chives, rosemary, and cilantro. This exercise was so much fun. I know it looks goofy, and we will see a lot goofier later on in the sketchbook from this exercise too, but we had to choose something in our house to draw very quickly. We got to look at it for a set amount of time, so I think it started with we can look at it for 5 seconds and then we draw for 30 seconds, or we look at it for 10 seconds and we draw it for 45 seconds, or you know, whatever the time limit was. I should have written them down, but I'll show you what I was drawing. Hold on just a second. This is Amelia, and I bought her in San Diego, so don't judge this too harshly. She, like I said, we only had, you know, a few seconds to look at her, and then we had to draw from memory very quickly. It may have even been like a 10-second drawing. And here, this time, we got to look at her a lot longer. I believe this was the final activity. So we looked at our object several times, each time trying to gain more information and get better at drawing that object, whatever it was. And I believe this was the last attempt. This was another exercise from Sketchbook Revival. I remember we started this painting with acrylic paint, or this exercise rather, with acrylic paint, and we used like a credit card to just kind of scrape it on there in different spots. And then I think we also used maybe some watercolor, or that kind of looks like colored pencil, and then ink to draw in some people and some of their background information. So this was during COVID, and this was during a Zoom call that I was on. So that was Carla Sondheim's activity or exercise, and she called it Zoom Stylized Portraits. This was another exercise, and it says embrace your inner weirdo, and we just used 2 different colors to create this. We made a little border, and again with this teared you'll see this a lot in the sketchbook where I tore the edges off, and then these are just little paintings of lemons, and yeah. And just made some notes from my classes, or whatever you want to call them. This is tissue paper. I decided it's not very helpful in a sketchbook. I thought I was going to be able to do cool stuff with it. This is just a little lady doing yoga, and almost mandala-like flower. This was another attempt at the same exercise. I wanted to see what would happen if I put the mandala flower on her somewhere, or maybe like it's coming out of her. And here's more tissue. Here's another quick sketch of Amelia. And this is my favorite. It's so hideous and scary, but for some reason I just absolutely love this drawing or painting. So this was the same exercise. This is supposed to be Amelia. But again, you don't look at her while you're painting her. So based on memory, with a person who does not have an imagination, as I've shared in other videos, not bad, right? She made a mess on this side of the page, so I left it alone. This was an experiment that I was trying. This is just glue that I had laid down. I wanted to see what would happen if I put watercolor over it. This was another attempt at drawing Amelia. So a lot of the sketchbook is going to be figure drawings and portraits, and this is where that kind of starts. This was after Sketchbook Revival, although like I said, these are out of order, so this is Sketchbook Revival, and so it's just out of order, so bear with me here. But yeah, this is just a portrait. This was from Sketchbook Revival. She had given us a reference photo to paint from, and this was supposed to be like a pond of lily pads. I didn't like how this one turned out, and so I tried it again. Every year after Sketchbook Revival, Karen Aubend does Find Your Flow, and so this was just me preparing for Find Your Flow. This was just a weird little side profile guy that I drew. And another side profile. This was the second attempt at drawing those lily pads. I really love how this one turned out. I love the texture in the sky. I hope the camera's picking this up, but I love the texture in the sky. I think the splatters look really good here. I love the texture in the plants where it's kind of scraped off. And this like light green, brown color, almost yellow. I don't know, I love this one. This is another setup page for Find Your Flow. This was just practice for portraits, which we'll see a lot in here. Another portrait. This is just a floral painting. I remember the whole point of this exercise was to kind of track what colors you were using and to think about the final product as you were going. This is another portrait. I left this page blank on the right because it was transferring so much. So I created this to create sort of another version of her. So this is still her, just on a different day. That's also her on a different day. She has a lot of looks, some of which are maybe a little evil. Okay, this drawing on the right, let's talk about it for a minute. If you ever sit down and draw something and you absolutely hate how it turns out, don't let that be the reason that you quit art. You're not gonna like everything you create. You're gonna have good days and bad days. You're gonna have good drawings on good days and bad drawings on good days, and vice versa. This drawing is absolutely terrible, but it taught me something. I learned that my best creative time is usually in the morning. I stopped trying to create on a regular basis in the afternoon because of this drawing. I learned that I am so much more creative in the mornings before I have used all my brain power at work or in social events or, whatever it is that's going on that day. I learned not to wait until after, if I can help it. This was just another floral painting. It was from Sketchbook Revival. We were just painting flowers. This is another portrait. I like to give people buns because I don't have to think about their hair as much. Another portrait. And this is my original girl doing yoga. The other ones before were just, they came after this. This was the original. This is just more setup from Find Your Flow. This is a ballerina. I love how I did her skirt. This is another ballerina. This was just from Sketchbook Revival. It's kind of an art journal, I guess, of sorts. This is Find Your Flow. This is where I came up with the idea to do my herb garden. This was an exercise. We would draw whatever we were trying to draw and then kind of smudge it out. And we would just keep doing that until we ended up with something that we liked. And then also we used our erasers to get rid of some of the color. This is just more practice at figure drawing and portraits. These are just more portraiture. Drew a coffee cup and another portrait. Another portrait. Just a leg. And another leg. Okay, so I'm not sure if we can show male or female anatomy on here, and I was trying to practice the whole body, so I just covered it up for you. This was an attempt at a Zentangle. This was an exercise from Sketchbook Revival. More anatomy. Another Zentangle. These were watercolor blobs that we turned into creatures. That was another exercise from Sketchbook Revival. This was another exercise from Sketchbook Revival. We worked off of a reference picture that the artist had taken who was walking us through this exercise. Sorry for all the graphite here, that's just transfer from this page. But yeah, he's a little royal tern and he was beautiful, and I did my best to make him beautiful in my sketchbook too. I turned the sensitivity down on my microphone so that hopefully it doesn't doesn't catch the guy mowing our lawn, but it might also not get my voice, so bear with me. This was a cutout from a magazine, and I named her Judge Jones. More figure work. This beautiful little ballerina. I love the way that this ballerina turned out. I'm really proud of this piece. Another ballerina just folded in half. And this, me and my friends had just bought some rollerblades and randomly tried to learn how to rollerblade. And so I wanted to try to capture that. I was going to draw all three of us, but I guess I kind of gave up on this one. More portraiture work. With this one, I went through a book that I have on portraits or on faces in general, not just portraits. And they had adjectives that you could use to try to draw that emotion or whatever it was. And so I went through the book and found a face that matched each word. And this was the one that I found for pleased. Happy, giggling. Mushrooms. We used stencils for this part down here. This is mostly watercolor, I believe, but this is from the stem of this mushroom is a cutout from a magazine. This part is fun. It has a little fold out. Hysterical laugh, tender. This was just a scrap piece that I was using for marking. These are my friend's birds. This is bagel, and this is egg. I was just playing with watercolors here. This wasn't really anything. I believe I was testing out different markers on this page. More markers. This is me and my dog Emmett on my wedding day. I dressed him up in a little tuxedo. He was so cute. Based on my dog. If I ever get a tattoo, the first one is going to be the silhouette like signature look is 1 year up, 1 year down, and so I was trying to think of a simple way to capture that. This is paper that my work sent me, that if you plant this, it grows wildflowers. But I loved it too much. I know I would have been a better person if I would have just planted it, but I decided to use it in here. I think that I was trying to capture Marilyn Monroe here. Ecstatic. This is supposed to be oh, what's her name? She's one of them that comes out at Christmas time every year. We'll come back to this. Blissful. Adoring and loving. Sexy. This was an exercise from Sketchbook Revival, but honestly I don't remember what it is. It looks like we took two words that are made up of single words. What are those called? Whatever, you know what they're called. And mix them up. So paintbrush and heartache makes paint ache and heartbrush. So I don't know if you can see this, but his hand is aching, I guess, from all the painting. And this is a heartbrush. This dark spot is from this guy's hair. It just transferred over. But it looks like the brush might be in the shape of a heart. More blobs that we turned into creatures or whatever we saw. Stone-faced. Ah, I remembered. It's Mariah Carey. Even though it looks nothing like Mariah Carey. Stone-faced. Shy. Embarrassed. This one I was just working with, I was trying to make monochromed faces. I figured if I took the color out of it, maybe it would make it easier to just figure out the different shades. And here's another attempt. Was this was just a cutout from the collage piece. Monochrome, but side profile. More portraitures and figure drawing. A few eye studies. This page is just more of more collage. More portraiture studies. More portraiture, and then this was the original ballerina picture that I had tried. The same one that's back here. So this was actually the original, even though it's a lot better than the second attempt. More portraitures, and then starting here, I wanted to try to turn portraiture into a science rather than an art, I guess. And so I was trying to capture all of the steps to create a portrait. So mostly what I learned from these portraits is that I don't know that you can make art a science. You can try, but I did the exact same thing every single time, and each one looked different than the one before it. So I think it's just about trying and trying again until you make something you like, and then still trying again because you might make something else that you like. You might like it even more. This one was just, it was a sketchbook revival exercise, and we were just making our own patterns. This one reminds me of like The Lion King for some reason. More portraits. More portraits. This one is actually my friend. This is just more collage with stamp work. We made another stamp. Learning how to draw the face from a side profile and working on figures. More figure work. This exercise, this came out of a book. I don't think I've shown you this book yet, but we'll get there eventually. But you had to draw a figure using as few lines as possible to still be able to get your point across. This was from Sketchbook Revival. It was just a pattern. We were making patterns. This is the color chart that I used to make these. More figure drawings with wrapping lines. Okay, for all the artists out there, you know what those are. Hopefully. More figure drawing with those lines that go along with the shape. More figure drawing, learning how the spine works. Still learning how the spine works. And this one. This is the second attempt of that really, really bad one back here. That honestly, some people might have given up after, because it was really bad. So this was attempt number 1 in the afternoon. This is attempt number 2 in the morning. More figure work and spines and all the things. More figure. I think you can probably show butts, right? More figure work. More waterproof testing. More work on spines and figures. Even more work on spines and figures. More figures and how they move. On specific planes. More figure work. Even more figure work. I'm just gonna stop saying figure work every time that it comes up. was learning how the arm moves, obviously. This one was interesting because all of these are made out of the numbers 1 through 9, and we had to figure out how to make cats with those numbers. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe? Do y'all see any other 7s? 8 and 9. And then I tried it again in pen. This was the same exercise as the one that I was talking about earlier, where we kind of smudged our drawing until we came out with something that we liked, and then we added some gold paint. Oh, look at that, more figures. I know this doesn't look like figure drawing, but it's preparation for figure drawing. This was just a little journal page that we did in Sketchbook Revival. We used washi tape and markers, and I did a tarot reading. And here we go, more figures. Objects that turn into figures. This page is one of my favorites that I have created myself, and it combines all of my favorite things: yoga, art, and meditation. All of these things that are numbered came from books, various books, or sometimes websites, depends. For these, I wanted to draw a face straight on and then that same face looking in every direction. There are going to be several of those throughout this sketchbook. I bring her up every time. I believe this is a Tamara Lepore exercise. This is a little town or area that we created out of collage. This was from Sketchbook Revival. It looks ridiculous, but it was a lot of fun to make. An advent calendar for Christmas, and so we got a new art supply every day, and we tasked ourselves with creating something every day with the thing that we got from the advent calendar that day. So that's where this came in. I was still obsessed with faces. This was just a scrap page. This looks like it was another scrap page. I was trying to see how all of these I got from the advent calendar, and I was just trying to figure out how they worked together and if you could put some of them on top of the others. Just learning the material. More practicing faces. Says grr arg. Bonus points if you get that reference. These were some art journal ideas. And I didn't use the last few pages. I remember feeling a little overwhelmed by this sketchbook in general, and so I think I just decided it was time to move on. These little wooden pieces were the very first pieces that we got out of the advent calendar, and I knew that I wanted to make eyes with them, but I wasn't exactly sure like how I was gonna do it. And then eventually I decided once I got all of the advent calendar opened up, I would use every single material on this piece. But this is as far as I ever got. And I think it's wacky and crazy and perfect just the way it is. He basically has googly eyes. You can move him around. And I just attached them by tying little knots around here so that they wouldn't come off. I can probably cut this loop off, but it's not hurting anything. But yeah, that is my sketchbook. I believe you guys are up to speed. But leave in the comments below if there's anything that you're interested in, anything that I can help with or clarify or anything like that. I hope that this video has been nice and relaxing for you. Bring your palms together. Your thumbs meet your forehead. The light in me sees, honors, and loves the light in each and every single one of you. Bow with me. Go find your happy breath. Namaste.